Hello friends, it's Simone. I have some time and it's quiet in the house, so I thought I would film an updated fountain pen wish list today. It is the middle of February 2024, and the last time that I filmed this video, I was preparing to go to the San Francisco Pen Show. And so I thought, if you have watched that video and you were aware of what I was trying to do there, I would go through what is on this list right now, and then I will update you on my wish list. And I just remembered that maybe I want to write that down in my ink journal right now, right here. So if you remember, then I used the Hobonichi Weeks as an ink journal, and I used these sticky notes for my fountain pen wish list. I am not going to do that in 2024 because I would like to have a documentation of what my current thoughts are, so that when I flip through this at another date, I remember, oh yeah, I had this on my list at one time, and not anymore. So let's start over here. These were my top 3 priorities when I went to the San Francisco Pen Show. I wanted to acquire a Franklin Christoph SIG medium nib, and I did that. I also purchased a pen. However, I have since sold the pen again, but I kept the nib, and that nib is currently housed in my Esterbrook Estie in sea glass. Then I had an appointment with Kirk from Pen Realm to do tuning, nib grinding, and such. And he did some things. He smoothed out the nib that he had ground for me 9 months prior, which is a reverse architect. The really fine, probably ultra extra fine nib on the regular side caught on paper, and so he smoothed that out for me. He also tuned this Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and it's now very wet and smooth. I am aware that sailors have feedback. I haven't written with this for a long time because it's such a small pen that I don't necessarily use for long writing sessions to be able to determine whether it still feels quite feedbacky to me when I do dry writing on this paper here. But it is nothing compared to, for instance, this, which I'm going to show you in just a second. The nib that he ground for me that I was very curious about, a cursive smooth italic in medium with a left foot oblique, left foot oblique. I had a really hard time to get that working for me, and I loaned it to a friend who fell in love, and so I sold it to her. I'm not sure that I am going to get another just regular cursive smooth italic nib, because I am not 100% sure that I am someone who needs many different nibs in their lives. I am, when it comes to nibs, this one is a very utilitarian nib for me. The reverse architect, I use the architect side for titles like this one, which hasn't been written with this pen, but just to tell you what I use it for. And then for regular writing, I use the regular side. And so that is very utilitarian, and I use this almost daily. A SIG medium nib or the journaler nib, they're nice, but that's not something that I naturally gravitate towards. I gravitate towards the regular round nibs. I love broader nibs like a 1.5 stub nib. Again, we're talking about that later. So I'm not sure that I need, for regular journaling, that I need special nibs. And then I also purchased this Schon Design full-size pen in the Ultim material with the medium monarch nib. And you can see that I have not cleaned my pens from January yet. That's another thing that I could have chosen to do today. So these were purchases that I was quite sure about. The rest was stuff that I wanted to explore. I was going to explore Sailor Pro Gear, Sailor 1911 large. I wanted to have them in my hand and test the medium and broad nibs. And I actually, let me check if I can find that here. So this is a Sailor 1911 large in medium, and I really liked that. Sailor Pro Gear medium fine, I wasn't so sure. I liked the broad on Pro Gear Slim as well. And then my friend Nadia loaned 2 pens to me. This classic Pro Gear with a medium fine nib that I tested all through this last this past fall 2023, and then also this Sailor Pro Gear King of Pen with a broad nib, and I actually really fell in love with this one. So this is probably staying with me, and I did not expect to like the bounciness and the toothiness of this nib. It's a little bit too fine for me, and so I think if I'm going to buy a Sailor Pro Gear, it will be in a medium nib size. I made sure to ride with a Pelikan M800. I also rode with a Pelikan M600. I wanted to see what size of Pelikan would be the right size for my hand, and I quickly realized that anything below the M800 line would be too small for my liking. And so I tried riding with it, and it was really amazing. And so I decided that the Pelikan M800 would be on my wish list. I purchased this for Christmas when it was reduced at Atlas Stationers during their Black Friday sale, and I really wanted this specific model. I am currently really enjoying the green pens, so that came in very handy that this was reduced. I wanted to do some research on Leonardo pens. Besides walking by their table and saying hi to Clarissa, I did not do anything. I saw some awesome Leonardo pens when I got my nibs ground by Kirk. So this is still a possibility. They were second-hand pens and they looked really fantastic. But the ones that he had for sale were all very special and quite expensive. And when I was there at that time, I wasn't ready to commit to any of those pens. As it is right now, and I will tell you that later on, if I walked by one of the awesome pens that he has at his table, I'm currently not having any pens for the San Francisco Pen Show on my list. I mean, it's February, things can change, but if one of those stood out to me, I might snack that one up then. I was thinking about checking out the Pilot Justice and Falcon pens. I wanted to see how flexy the FA nib is compared to the Falcon nib on the Pilot Falcon. And then I wanted to see the Justice because that just looks so cool to be able to modify the softness of the nibs. But I was so completely done when I got over to the Pilot table, and every time I looked over there or walked by there, it was so full that I just didn't have the energy to push my way all the way to the pens and try them out, so I decided to let it go. I am currently also really happy with the Pilot pens that I have, like the Pilot Custom 823, that I'm not looking at purchasing any more of those. I also thought about maybe asking one of my friends to loan me the Kaweco Sport in brass. But I'm currently, this is a pen that I have in my stash. It's the last Kaweco Sport. It has a double broad nib, and I'm very tempted to include this in one of my giveaways in the upcoming months, because I'm just not, every time I have the opportunity to use this, I pick something else over it. And so it's not really necessary to stay in my collection. And so I don't think that the brass version of this pen would change anything about my desire to use it. Now, Pilot Parallels. Yes, that is something that I tried in December. My friend Katie loaned me her 4 Pilot Parallels that she had duplicates of, and I used most of them in December for the Diamine Ink event, and I completely fell in love. And I have since purchased those pens from her, and I also purchased another Pilot Parallel, a modified Pilot Parallel, which is called Radius. I had my family purchase this for me for my birthday from John Neal Books, and I really love using those in letters to use as titles. Like, where did I put it? Right here. I made a little card with my sticker, and this is written with this nib. I just really love the playfulness that these add to my fountain pen stash. I do have 4 nibs now. I also have this humongous 6.0 millimeter nib, and I'm actually thinking of maybe playing with some grinding and see if I can tune it to do something similar as this one. Just because I don't think I would enjoy the broad nib, and if I could play with this and make it different, I would love to do that. If you have any resources in how to approach this, and if you have done anything similar to this, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd really be interested to learn more. I think the Esterbrook Estie was on here because I still hadn't purchased the honeycomb. And what happened is that the only other Esterbrook Estie that I owned was the Rainforest, and I purchased that because it had the Techo nib on it. I was since able to remove the Techo nib from the Rainforest, and then I decided to cull my collection. I sold the Rainforest pen, the Rainforest design, to fund a different pen, because I have quite an expensive pen on my horizon, and I also purchased some pens that were quite expensive for my birthday. I tried to only fund new pens, which was only one time, by selling other pens, so I wouldn't touch my budget. I'm still trying to really accumulate some more funds so that I, first of all, can still pay this pen, purchase one pen on my wish list, and then also have enough funds to go to the San Francisco Pen Show this upcoming summer. So this is basically done. I currently don't anticipate me purchasing any more Esterbrook Esties, even though I saw some images of the white one, and the black Raven looks really good. I think it's called Raven. But I'm really happy with these 3. If I needed to, if I wanted to change it out, I probably would keep the Scarlet and the Honeycomb and maybe swap the Sea Glass for a different colorway. But currently, I I'm really happy with the ones that I have, and I don't see myself actually doing that at all. And the last thing that came up sometime during the fall as well was when I saw Opus 88 announce the demonstrator pen of the year for 2024 in pink. They also have another colorway in teal that looks really amazing too. But I decided to go with this one because I just really loved the colors, and what I especially loved about this pen was the green Opus 88 on the pink body. That just made me really happy. And now look at, I have this Pilot Parallel nib on here in the teal, and then it's just this pen just makes me really happy. There's no other reason why I purchased this, because you know, it's just another JoWo nib housing. But when I learned that I really enjoyed these Pilot Parallel nibs and that they were easily swappable into this pen, I knew that this was a good investment, and it basically was justified to get that pen. So that was what was on that list. I currently don't really want to put anything forward. Well, okay. Well, I'm eating my own words. But let me tell you about the pens that are still on my list. And maybe I'm going to start writing this now. Okay. That's why I really love this Opus 88. Let me write the title. So, okay, let's start with pens. And I will do this in two different categories. I want to write down one that I am 99.9% sure that I would purchase, which is first so I said it before, I want to buy a Sailor Pro Gear. And with a medium nib. The one that I have been eyeing since it came out and has been re-released as a Pro Gear model in the spring of 2023 is the Yoseka Origin Pro Gear. It's this beautiful bottle green. I think it's a little bit more olivey than this one, this color, and it has gold sparkles in it. It's super simple, actually. It's nothing special. If you look at many of the Pro Gears that are out there, there are some that are more flashy, more colorful than that one, but that is just not leaving my mind. However, it is currently priced and probably will be for the foreseeable future at $490 US. And that is not a pen that I purchased lightly, not anymore. Because I am buying such high priced pens currently, I am spreading them out over the year for a little bit, and my target date for my purchase of this pen is May 15th. I'm not saying that I'm not purchasing little things here and there. I currently have a secondhand Lamy Studio on the way to me. That is a pen that I was curious about. Maybe I'll put that on the list because it's not here yet. But I'm not making any real big pen purchases. I know, besides for the Lamy Studio, for instance, besides the actual grip section, I know how these nibs perform. I have Lamys, I have nibs like this one. I have nibs that are interchangeable, and so it's not a big surprise for me. It was a really good deal. It was a color that I liked, and so I decided that even if I'm going to change the grip section for the black grip section with that is not metal, it's still cheaper to get that secondhand plus the grip section than buy a new Lamy Studio. So that's why I purchased that right now. But my next big pen purchase is on May 15th. And until then, I can still think about whether I would really want to commit that money to this pen. Another pen that might be, or maybe, which is much cheaper. I really like the Stealth Black. That is also really lovely. But this is definitely the one that is high on my wish list right now. So the pens that I would like to try or see or maybe get if nothing else comes up in between is the so I am going to do this. So this is basically a definite yes. I am going to get a Sailor Progress with a medium nib. I'm just not 100% sure it's this specific one. Pens that are on my maybe list, let's see about it, is the Waterman. Karen. I don't really know if the amber or whatever color there is that I would want. I have no idea. I also don't know about the nib. I have heard that the nib is quite squared off, so it's more like a stubby nib when it's a medium nib. It's really wet. As far as I know, Karina and Mick, who brought me on that whole thing, and then I watched a Doodlebud video, I think. Then I watched a review by SBRE Brown. This might be a pen that is totally flying under the radar of many people, but undeserved. So I would at least love to try it. I know that Karina feels like the fine is almost too broad for her. So I would love to try this before I commit or decide if it's even a pen that I would like. And then another pen that is still on my wish list that it's not leaving my mind, is the Lamy Dialogue CC. Here, I don't know. I would love to test a fine and a medium just to see which one I prefer. I love the fine on my Lamy 2000, but that nib is like tiny, and the Lamy Dialogue CC is looks like a regular Lamy Safari nib. So I'm not sure that if they are comparable. I haven't done any research about those just yet. So this is a maybe at the pen show. I'll just leave those right there. Maybe I'll stick them down. And then the second thing that I'm thinking about is nibs. And I know that I'm basically contradicting myself with the first one that I'm going to put down. And that is another Franklin Christoph Sig nib, but in the broad. I tested my friend Kristen from Life Inspires Designs broad Sig nib when I met her at the San Francisco Pen Show this past summer, and I really liked it, and I think that would be one that I would enjoy writing with. Another nib that I would like to acquire is a Lamy gold nib. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is one of those things that I would probably order during maybe an endless pen sale or so. And maybe even two. Not 100% sure. But I would probably be liking both the fine and medium. So yes, and especially I do have some nice AL or LXs, and then if the Lamy Studio works out for me, that could be a pen that could house the Lamy gold nib. So there are quite a few options. I have enjoyed these Lamy Safari grip sections here. Since I was in school, it's something that I'm totally used to. It feels a little bit like coming home when I use a Lamy pen with that grip section, so I don't ever feel like that is something that is bad. And by maybe adding a gold nib to this, I would be able to enhance the writing experience even more. That would be really fun. So I would love to try those. Then the last thing, which is not a nib that I would purchase, but a grind. Oh, I also saw, and I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like the nib on the Lamy Dialogue CC is very similar to the Lamy Gold nib that fit on the Safari, the Studio, the All-Star, the LX. They look very similar. I don't know if they're the same in size. The one has a breather hole, the other one does not. I haven't done a research yet. I just saw it on a website when I looked at prices. They're similarly priced. They're just, one says for the Lamy Dialogue CC and one says for all the other pens. So I'm wondering, is that just because it looks different, or does it actually only fit either one of those grip sections, feeds? That's what I wanted. Because if that wasn't the case, then the Lamy Dialogue CC would be even more interesting, because then I would have this whole family of nibs that I could interchange. The last thing that I would like to do or get done is I do have two Platinum 3776s. One is the Shape of Heart with a medium nib, and one is the regular one with a broad nib. And I have been thinking of, and I think that I am going to do this at the San Francisco Pen Show. I am going to have this nib ground to another reverse architect like I have on here, because I can only imagine how much better this would feel if it was on this nib. I'm not often gravitating towards these two pens to ink them up with my colorful pens, but I could see this becoming a really great use for with permanent black ink. I can see this being a really great thing for me, for us, the Simones of this world. Yeah, so that is currently everything that I have on my wish list. And maybe the reason for that, let me just write. So, the reason for that might be that I just had my birthday. I'm 47 years old. Man, that's 7 years older than my mother-in-law was when I met her for the very first time. So my birthday pens are these 3, plus the nib that is inside, and that's a lot. And that's a lot to explore. This was my Christmas pen. It's another one that I have inked once and haven't used a lot since. I mean, I wrote with it, but I haven't inked it multiple times. I'm starting to fall in love with it. It's very promising. All of those are very promising, but it's not like I'm ready to move on to the next best shiny thing. This is something that needs to be and wants to be explored and looked at from various different angles, written with, understood better before I might be able to add any other things to my list. And I really have to say that I'm very happy with that development. Just a couple of months ago, I felt like, will this ever end? Is there ever going to be a time when I say, actually, I'm okay? I know there are so many other pens out there. Maybe I would like to try them, but these are some that are on my list right now. I'm glad I'm slowing down a little and I'm giving myself more time to do all of those things. And yeah, I'm really curious to see if this is going to be how my next 6 months are going to turn out, or if it's completely going to be totally different. I wouldn't be opposed to purchasing this Origin Pro Gear with a medium nib as a pre-loved pen. It doesn't need to be a new pen for me to make me happy. Same with the other two. But I'm really trying to stick to my order here. So I'm not going to move any of those up and swap them out. This is the next pen that I'm purchasing. The funny thing about the Lamy Dialogue CC is that the last time that I talked about this, the last time that I had it on my list, I thought it was such an expensive pen that I would never ever purchase. Now I own these two, which I think both of them are basically double the price of the Lamy Dialogue CC, that I'm like, now, oh, well, you know what? I'm paying that with pocket change, which, no, it's not true. But this is not a pen that I would think probably more than twice about getting. I would just save up and buy it because I'm currently having such pens here that are way more expensive. And I really have to say that all 3 of these write amazingly well. And I personally think that they're all worth the money that I paid for them, and I would purchase them again in a heartbeat, even with the price that is attached to them. So am I going to be a pen snob now? I don't know. I just know that these three really bring me joy every time I use them, and that's really awesome. And I probably would be able to reduce my collection even further, because why not? Why would I not want to write with these pens all the time? Okay, so I think I'm done now. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I think I said some bold statements. I would like to hear your thoughts on those. Yes, of course, I'm still writing with my Lamis. I don't see any problems with those either. I'd love to hear what's on your wish list as well. Is there something that you're saving up for? Or would you ever purchase a pen that is more than, let's say, $200? I never thought I would, and now I suddenly have more than just one. And again, I'm saving up to purchase the next one that is by far exceeding the $200 mark. Alrighty, I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you so much for watching. I really loved talking through this with you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!